welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and today we're going to do a 24-hour manga reading vlog. So every couple of months or like once or twice throughout the year, I like to do 24 hours of reading manga. And that's what we're going to do today. So the way that these vlogs work is that I tell you what manga I'm reading, I read it, and I come review it. It's the best way to do it because I really tried to cram in a bunch of manga throughout these 24 hours. I'm not doing 24 hours straight. I am a mother, so I need to sleep. So I will be probably going to bed around 2 a.m., waking up around 8:39, and then we'll continue tomorrow up until about 8 o'clock. It is currently 7:40. I'm going to start at 8. And I think what I'm going to do is start off with my library hauls. And the first manga I'm going to start with is Blood on the Tracks Volume 4 by Shuzu Oshimi. And this is a manga series that follows a like psycho type of dynamic. So a mother and son that have a very unhealthy enmeshed relationship. I'm currently on the 4th volume. I've been really enjoying this manga. I really enjoy the art style and the overall plot. Apparently this is a prologue to a much bigger series, which I think is really interesting. So I'm going to go make my Caesar salad for supper, read Blood on the Tracks Volume 4, and come back to you. So I just finished Blood on the Tracks Volume 4 and I'm going to give it 4 stars. I really enjoy this series. I think I mentioned that before, but this series always intrigues me, and this one especially terrified me. Like my whole body was tense and I was cringing every time. Every page I was cringing, every page, because you just don't know what the truth is in this story. Like, is Seichi's mom evil? Like, is she just a little bit overbearing, but like Seichi's evil and he's like making up stuff in his head? Is Fukishi evil and like she's painting Seichi's mom in a bad light? We have seen her commit atrocities, but at the same time I'm like, is Seichi making it up? Oshimi really allows for his narrative to make you feel this way and to make you think these things. So I'm very interested to continue with the series. I won't be doing that tonight, but I think the next book I'm going to read is Yona of the Dawn Volume 5 by Mizuho Kusanagi. This is a story about a young princess whose father was murdered one night, and Yona runs away with her like first in line soldier. It's a soldier princess romance, and I learned that that's something that I particularly enjoy. So that's the one I'm going to start next. I'm pretty well into the series now, 5 volumes, but I hope I enjoy it. I think the last one was definitely my favorite because we got introduced to a new character. So I'm very excited to see how that character plays into this next volume. So I just finished Yona of the Dawn Volume 5 and I ended up giving this a 3.5 stars. I think that this is a volume that's really setting up the next couple of volumes for us. And I could just tell that from what this is setting up, the next volume is going to be so good. The Green Dragon, so this is the 3rd dragon that Yona and her like band, her group, are trying to find in order to defend or protect her right to the throne. And the Green Dragon really intrigues me because he doesn't necessarily want to be a part of this crew. He doesn't want to be included with the other dragons. He just wants to be like alone, vibing with his pirate crew. That's who he cares about. However, he's still a little intrigued by Hawk. And I mean, like, who isn't? Hawk is the hot bodyguard. And like, I get it, bro. Like, I totally get it. I'm here for it. Additionally, I also think this volume is really opening up the idea that Yona's father, the king, wasn't necessarily the best king, especially for these poorer cities that are a bit further away. They didn't get the resources that they needed from the king, so they're very resentful towards him. And I'm interested to see how Yona begins to grapple with that. The next volume I think I'm going to read, and this is the last one I took out from the library, is The Girl from the Other Side Volume 5 by Nagabe. This is a manga series that follows life after this like pandemic of sorts that converts people to these evil monsters, and it follows a girl from the other side, from the side that's basically of the humans, and they haven't been infected by this disease, and a creature who she calls teacher, who takes care of her because she is living on the bad side, the more diseased side. They have this like perfect little found family that I think is so cute. So I'm gonna dive into this. I really enjoy this series, so I'm excited to see how the next volume goes because the last one ended on a bit of a cliffhanger and I really need to know what happens. So I just finished The Girl from the Other Side Volume 5 by Nagabe, and I always find such joy when reading this series. The relationship between Teacher and Shiva is just so cute. In this volume, Teacher and Shiva have like a bit of an argument with one another, and I found that to be really cute because it's very reminiscent of like a parent and child type of argument where the child is learning that their parent is a liar for the first time. It was a very interesting argument between the two of them because Teacher just wants what's best for Shiva because she's clearly important to the inside, but Shiva doesn't understand that, and Teacher's just trying to protect her from that. And speaking of that, I like that with each volume we're really learning about the lore of the inside and what's going on in the inside and the release of this curse. It's giving a very underlying theme of like religious control, which I always love in books and I always think are really, really interesting. So I have a feeling that when the full revelation comes out, I'm going to really, really love this entire series. But yeah, I gave it 4 stars, really enjoyed it. Let's go into the library and I'm going to pick my next physical volume that I'll be reading. I have to really remove these, but my volumes of manga are behind. I'm really thinking I want to do Dragon Ball Volume 1 just because I love Dragon Ball Z and I have never read the manga volumes, so this really intrigues me. I also have a couple of thicker manga here that I always like to tackle in the bigger days, and I also have smaller volumes in case I really need a break, but I think I'm gonna go with Dragon Ball Volume 1 and we'll go from there. Ignore my breast pumps going, but I realized I forgot to talk about what Dragon Ball is. I just assume everybody has an obsession with Dragon Ball Z like I do, but Dragon Ball basically starts off following Goku as a little kid, and he meets Bulma, and Bulma and Goku are working together on a quest in order to catch all 7 of the Dragon Balls, because Bulma learns that if you have all 7 of the Dragon Balls, you are granted a wish by the dragon god that comes out of the Dragon Balls. Goku's a little naive. He thinks Bulma's a witch, which is really cute. Bulma sort of teaches him about like technology because Goku's been sort of isolated for a really long time. That's Dragon Ball, the first Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball Z. It's one of my loves. I actually have a Dragon Ball tattoo. I love Dragon Ball Z, so I'm excited to read the manga that started it all. I've obviously watched Dragon Ball as well, but I've just never read the mangas.
The next day.
Hello, I woke up late this morning, me and my kid. We had a really busy weekend, so I definitely slept in. We had a solid 8 hours. So I'm going to get up. I'm currently pumping, so while I'm pumping, I'm going to continue reading Dragon Ball. I just have to go get it, and we'll continue with this 24-hour reading vlog. I finally managed to finish Dragon Ball Volume 1 of the big edition today. It definitely took me a long time, but it's my kid's 3-month birthday, so I did a little photo shoot with him and like whatnot, so that's the reason it's taken me so long. This is also a very, very thick manga. It's almost 600 pages, so like that's also why it's taken me a while, but I love Dragon Ball Z so much, so I have a lot of nostalgia for this series. But in Dragon Ball, I love how innocent Goku is. He's a young kid and he learns so much about the world through the course of this manga. His youthfulness always adds like a really sweet touch to the series because it's overall like very battle heavy, I would say. Not so much in this one, but again, I do think that's because of Goku's innocence right now. The world Toriyama created is so fascinating. I love the like lore of the humans living in a world with dinosaurs based on like Toriyama's previous series. It's full of like great fight scenes because the humans, due to their practice of martial arts, have a lot of like interesting powers, and so there's a lot of like teachings and funny moments within that, especially as we start to push forward into the rest of the manga series, which I definitely plan to do this year. I will say, however, I think this is a very valid criticism of Dragon Ball, that it is very vulgar and very sexual, especially towards the female characters, so that's why I can never truly give this a 5 stars. Bulma is the main female character in this series, and she does have more agency than like other characters, and often like fights against the sexism or sexual innuendos that she's receiving. And other female characters later on, especially in Dragon Ball Z, also have more agency than we see in these early volumes. But many female characters are just added to work as the butt of jokes. I do think Toriyama is using it to play off these characters as like pervy, silly, and gross, but it is so heavily steeped within Dragon Ball itself, but especially in these first 3 volumes, that I'm just really excited to get into DBZ because it's a lot less sexual, a lot less vulgar than Dragon Ball is. So I ended up giving this a 4 stars, and I don't know what to pick up next. I don't know if I should pick up another thicker volume or a small one just to quickly get something done. I'll come back. So what I decided to do is tackle the continuing of some manga series that I am currently in. And what I think I'm going to do is start with Spy Family Volume 3 by Tetsuya Endo, because I really love this series and I just want to continue. I just think it's so wholesome. It follows a master spy named Twilight who has to get in the good graces of a man in order to kill him, and in order to do so he creates this like fake family to get a daughter into the schools so that she could become friends with this boy who is the son of the man that Twilight needs to kill. So he's like grouped together this like little fake family with a woman named Yor, who he doesn't know is a skilled assassin, and she doesn't know that he is a spy. And they've adopted a young girl who is a mind reader, so she knows everything that's going on. I just think this series is so sweet, so I'm definitely going to start it now, and I will come back to you with what I thought about it. So I just finished Spy Family Volume 3 and I ended up giving this 4 stars. This was a bit slower of a volume for me, but I can see how we are developing the next couple of volumes. I love how invested Anya is in her father's mission and how she just wants to make him proud. It's just so sweet. Yor's brother in this one was a bit disturbing to me, like him being in love with her, a bit unhinged, I fear. I mentioned that in the last volume I read of Spy Family in my review, and I just feel the same now. If he becomes a little too involved in the next few volumes, I could see how I'm going to be really annoyed of him. But I appreciated the like added pressure he put on Yor and Twilight Lloyd to fall in love, maybe. So I think that was kind of cute. Overall, this was just as fun as the previous installments, and I always enjoy reading Spy Family. And now I think I'm going to pick up Demon Slayer Volume 2 by Koyoharu Gotuge. I wasn't impressed by the first volume, and given how popular Demon Slayer is, I want to give it more of a chance. So I will be diving into Volume 2. Hopefully it captures my attention, because I do really want to love this series, because everybody does. So I'm going to start this now. This follows a young boy named Tanjiro who makes a living selling charcoal, but his peaceful life is shattered when a demon slaughters his entire family. His little sister Nezuko is the only survivor, but she has been transformed into a demon herself. We'll see how it goes, and I hope I enjoy it. So I finished Demon Slayer Volume 2, and I like this one way more than the first volume. I was about to DNF this series if I didn't like this volume, so I'm very happy to say that I really enjoyed it. And I think that's because this one had a lot more surprises, and I feel like a more developed plot than the first one did. It's starting to expand on the lore of Tanjiro's family's deaths, and also like the demon lore as a whole. And even though we just met him, Kibitsuji Muzan is a really interesting villain, and I feel as though he's going to be the primary like reason I continue reading this series. Additionally, I found Tanjiro's conversation with Tomayo, the like demon doctor, about demons was cut too short, because I want to learn more about the demon curse and what's going on and like what she knows. So I'm really looking forward to the next volume in this. I have to buy it, but enjoying it so far. And now I think I'm a bit tired with like fighting, so I think I'm going to jump into The Promised Neverland by Kayu Shirei, because this is like a dystopian type of future where these children are being kept in like a small community. They get adopted out, so like a family buys them, they believe, so that they could live a happy life. And what we find out in the first volume is that it's I think I'm just gonna pick this up. I gave the first volume 5 stars, so I really expect to enjoy this one. Hello, so I decided to go to the gym. I didn't finish The Promised Neverland yet. It is now the 24-hour mark. I went to the gym anyways just because I really love working out and just feeling better about my body. So what I'm gonna do is go back upstairs after I finish my workout and continue reading maybe 2 more mangas. I want to finish The Promised Neverland for sure, and maybe another one before I go to bed, and then I'll probably wrap this up tomorrow. Hello, it has officially been 24 hours later from the 24 hours, and I am here to summarize what has happened. So basically, last night, as I wanted to end the 24 hours of manga reading, my kid started feeling a little sick. I really think he's teething. He might be like an early teether right now, and he's going through like a little regression. So it was quite a difficult night when I got home from the gym. So I didn't manage to finish Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 2 nor My Hero Academia Volume 4. But these are still 2 mangas that I am really interested in continuing. So I definitely want to prioritize this either in the upcoming months, or if I do another 24-hour manga readathon. These are definitely like the two that I plan to read first. With that being said, however, I did manage to finish The Promised Neverland by Kayu Shirai, and the art is also by Pasuka Demizu. I didn't know that they had two different authors, but this is volume 2 of the series, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. So I didn't enjoy this one quite as much as I did the first volume in the series, but I just think that that's partly due to the fact that this one just isn't as shocking. So there's a lot more of like planning in this and talking over different scenarios and what they're gonna do. The characters we're following are aware of what's going on, so there's nothing really that they're learning that would shock the reader, and they're working together to plan for this escape that they want to do. So there's just a lot of discussions like concerning methods, navigating what they're doing, and evading the eye of mom, their like teacher watcher. Even though this is a more simple volume where there isn't necessarily anything scary going on or visually scary going on, I was still completely on edge the entire time because this series just does scare me, and I was just scared to like see something that will really shock me. And I know that the way that this ended will cause for like major things to occur in the third volume, so I will definitely be picking it up. I find this series to be really interesting, scary, so methinks I will be purchasing the third volume. So let's go over everything I read for the 24-hour manga readathon. The first book I read was Blood on the Tracks Volume 4 by Shuzu Oshimi, and I gave this a 4 stars. I really like this series. It's thrilling, it's scary. Then I read The Girl from the Other Side Volume 5 by Nagabe, and I ended up giving this 4 stars as well. Really like this series, again with this intrigue, each volume keeping me interested. There's some sort of mystery going on, a like spooky mystery, and I think that that's my like spot for manga right now. Then I read Yona of the Dawn Volume 5 by Mizuho Kusanagi, and I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. I think this is where I'm going to sort of fall into with Yona of the Dawn. I really like the character work and the characters that we meet and what's going on, but I don't necessarily find myself engaged with the like political plot of the book, and that's sort of where I find myself like caught in the middle with this series. Then I read Spy Family Volume 3 by Tetsuya Endo, and I gave this one a 4 stars as well. I love Spy Family. I think it's so fun, so charming, so I didn't expect anything less going into this one. Oh, really, I have the book right here, like I could have held. Ugh. I also read Dragon Ball Volume 1 of the like Viz Big Edition. So this is the first 3 volumes in this omnibus by Akira Toriyama, and I gave this a 4 stars. I love this series. I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but I do understand that there are some like sexual misogyny things going on in this series that just I can't bring myself to give it 5 stars because there is obviously that fault in the book. Then I read Demon Slayer Volume 2 by Koyoharu Gotoge, and I gave this a 4 stars. This made me really interested in the rest of the Demon Slayer volumes. I was a little bit iffy about the first volume, but this really solidified it as like making sense to why it's so popular. I definitely want to continue in this series now. And then finally, as mentioned, The Promised Neverland, which I gave a 4 stars as well. So these plus the 3 others I read from the library is everything I managed to read in 24 hours with a newborn baby. So give me some grace. I managed to read quite a bit of manga. If you've read any of these volumes, please let me know down below what you thought about them. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Let me know. If you would like to follow me on my reading journey, I always leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. Of course, given the state of the world and how I feel about these social medias being controlled by oligarchs, I don't know if necessarily I will have them forever. But if they are linked down below when you're watching this, go ahead and follow me there. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It does wonders for my channel, makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye!